My sister is an English professor at DePaul University. And of course, she's a total Audre Lorde nerd. That is how I actually got introduced to the term biommythography from Zamni, a new spelling of my name. Within that particular text, she described her writing style as a biommythography, which is the combination of biography, history, and myth. As a visual artist, I was interested in how does biommythography work as an interdisciplinary visual arts practice. I started developing an archive of cabinet cards, and I discovered them by going to flea markets and coming across them as just these kind of material, cultural byproducts that were just being sold. I was really fascinated by them and started doing more research. Cabinet card is an early form of photography from the late 1800s. These were often the first times that you had people taking self-portraits or doing portrait photography, as well as family photo albums. It's such a beautiful link in terms of thinking about the making of identity, the coupling of the cabinet card and photography and modernism, and how that intersects with how Americans were engaging with capitalism, identity creation. Reminds me a lot of what we're going through now in terms of how people are engaging and performing identity and creating identity with new technologies that we have available, and how it's able to be dispersed. Working on the cabinet cards is what allowed me the freedom to break free and break away from the preciousness of the object and actually really engage with interrogating the image and pushing it further. With this piece, I love how there's different forms of dimensionality that were able to be drawn out from it, from the shells that you're seeing, from the lace to the mask, and then also to the sunglasses and the hair. I had actually incorporated my hair into this piece, collecting hair from my brush over a long period of time in order to be able to then apply it to the work. Not only does it demark different kind of cultural representations, but you can find out a lot about my genetic history that's embedded now within the work. So the hair always functions as almost like this double portraiture. And what influenced actually the use of hair in that way was, again, looking at old cabinet card portraits in which you would have a portrait, but you might have a lock of hair that gave you an idea of the person. With the larger cabinet portrait works that the wife portrait is a part of, it's been a great exploration in terms of seeing how can some of the things that I'm doing within the cabinet cards work translate within a larger scale and in creating digital works. My wedding dress was this beautiful steely graphite gray. So I'm using graphite, charcoal, and playing with reflectiveness from the actual medium of the graphite in ways that mimic how photography can work. You know, a lot of the original editing for photography was using graphite, whether it be applied directly to the film or actually onto the paper once it's been printed. I'm really interested in how the skin tone is represented in relationship to the backdrop that was kind of historically used in photography, and to play with how we represent and see light and skin tone. I also included jewelry that I have gotten from my husband, my wedding ring. So different pieces that throughout the years I've been able to collect. It's, you know, an interesting thing to get into your wedding dress 12 years into after your marriage, because there's a big difference between the idea of being the bride and being a wife. I did probably one of the most hardcore things I think you could do in terms of even approaching the wedding dress, in that I put on this wedding dress after I had a hysterectomy. Literally, it's before uterus and after uterus. And so then I'm entering into a new phase of womanhood, and also just speaking to aging. It's not about the romance of what you think being a bride is or what marriage is going to be, but you're steeped in your womanhood and you're steeped in your marriage and you're like, I understand and know what it's about and I'm living it. And I think it's something that's really powerful too, to have a Black woman represented as a wife. A lot of times the mother identity is something that becomes centered when we think about Black womanhood, but the idea of being a Black wife is something that's really important. One of the things that I found interesting about even going through the process of building the archive and collecting the cabinet card is essentially, it is really easy to get representations of white people. It's actually oversaturated, and people of color are harder to find. But that's one of the reasons why that I was also collecting like Ebony and Jet magazines, because you're looking at material culture in which, in particular, African Americans are being represented. I thought the conjunction of the cabinet card with Jet and Ebony magazine was a great way to introduce the different agencies through the different media of representation in the imagery. My parents owned one of the largest Black-owned advertising agencies in the 90s, and they produced a lot of content for actually Jet and Ebony magazine, as well as did print, TV commercials, and radio commercials. Interrogating and also producing representation is something that was conversation we had around the dinner table. Even though, they worked on these different representations, I didn't feel like there was a representation of me that was out there that was considered acceptable. So the idea of still making inroads where I'm like, you know what? Well, I guess I'm going to have to inject myself into art history if I'm not seeing myself there. And it gets to that kind of structuring of biommythography that we talked about earlier, in which you have biography, you have history, but you have this mythology from different imagery that you're consuming that help inform how you experience the world and how you see yourself and others.